always seem to pick the coldest or the hottest days to do stuff, and today I think it's like 5 degrees outside. And the reason for this video is I use propane cylinders, the little 1 pound cylinders. I use them for quite a few different things, you know, different kinds of torches, and also I use them for heat. And you can see here, you know, you have a 1 pounder in this side, and you got a 1 pounder hidden in this side. So now granted, for this heater you can use this hose adapter, okay? It goes into where a tank would normally, one of the 1 pound tanks would normally go, and you can use yourself a 15 pound bottle, or you can use yourself a 30 pound bottle. Now we're going to workbench and I just want to stay warm, whatever, I'll use this heater. But this heater will suck through, if you turn it on full, like the full 18,000 BTUs, in like 4 hours it empties these 1 pound bottles, 2 of them. Okay, you go to the store and you buy these bottles, you buy them usually by the 2-pack, you know, and most hardware stores are like $7, $8 for 2. You know, so you're talking about 2 pounds compared to a 15 pound or a 30 pound cylinder. It's math here. You take 2 bottles, $7, $8. 4 bottles, $15. You're almost the cost of 4 bottles, and you're getting the, you take your barbecue bottle, your barbecue cylinder here, and it's 15 pounds. 1 pound, 15 pounds. Not hard to figure out. So what I'm going to show you here, and the reason being is I don't always use my hose, because I don't want to trip over the hose, and I don't want another big tank in the garage or house or space. I still want to make this little heater portable. I want to make these so I don't have to pay $7 for 2 bottles. And now granted, this is MAP gas. This is a different gas here. You know, you can refill this type of cylinder here. The MAP gas, I mean, if you refill the MAP gas with propane, it's not MAP gas anymore, obviously. But you get these cylinders in blue, you can refill them. So the whole purpose of this video is I'm going to show you how to refill these, and you save yourself a ton of money. Okay, what I'm showing you here, and the secret to this whole thing is this right here. Put it on my video. This right here. This is a adapter to adapt your large propane tank, you know, whether it's a 15 pound or 30 pound. Basically, you make sure your tank is off. If you've had the tank pressurized, don't direct this towards your face, but if you had your tank pressurized, when you go to screw this on, okay, when you go to screw this on the first time, it's going to let out a little propane that's trapped in the valve, between the check valve and the valve. So you put your fitting on here, okay, everything's off. You pull out the handy dandy little thing we made down in the basement. Take your tank, flip it upside down, and set it on here. Okay, the reason for that is you have this full of propane, 30 pounds of propane. You want the liquid to fill your bottle. Okay, now I don't know if I can actually show you on here. My tank, it was sitting outside and it was like 15 degrees or 20 degrees. Put it in the house for a little bit, warmed it up, and you can see here, aim at the tank. You can see on the video, 31 degrees. Now I'm going to aim at my little propane tank here, and we got 15 degrees. Usually I'll let this sit in the house. I'll take it in the house and warm it up, just room temperature, get it to 50, 60, 70 degrees, you know, just the temperature of what's inside the house. I'm doing this, you know, I just kind of put it in the house and brought it up 15 degrees. So it's enough. It's enough to do what I wanted to do. And basically, just like in your vehicle air conditioning, and home, you know, heat pump air conditioning, hot goes to cold and cold goes to hot, and vice versa. This is how this really works. And that's the reason I'm doing this on the coldest day. I mean, it's the time of year when I'm actually doing this video. But this tank is 15 degrees. I use the advantage of the weather to freeze this tank. If it was summertime, and this is already hot because it's summertime and warm out, this tank here, you're going to have to put it in the freezer. You're going to have to freeze this tank and probably keep it in the freezer for an hour or 2 hours, just so it's you know, it's definitely cold. And pretty much as soon as you take it out of the freezer, you're going to do what we're going to do here. You're going to hook it up and fill it, because if you let it sit and this warms up, it's not going to get the pressure and it's not going to get a full quantity of propane in it. So, and I'll show you before and after and everything in this video, but here I'm using the advantage of the weather, and it's 15 degrees. This is 30-ish. You know, if I took it in the house for a couple hours and get it up to 50 or 60 or 70 degrees, it would make this a lot more full. Okay, now what we're going to do, well, I keep the little caps. I don't throw these little caps away. Take the tank, literally just put it right on here. Put it on until it's snug. I don't kill it, I just snug. That's all it really needs. Open the tank. And you can hear it filling. Take the camera. So I give it a few minutes to, you know, finish pushing liquid into the tank here. And then once I feel that, you know, this is not an exact science, so once I feel it's given an appropriate amount of time and I feel that it's put enough, you get used to this if you start doing this yourself, you get used to the amount of time you wait between the time you let it fill and then the time you actually stop it and close the valve. And then, I mean, you can weigh it. You don't have to weigh it. I'm just weighing it for the video here to show you get pretty much a pound. You know, if your tank's not warm enough or this isn't cold enough, you're not going to get a pound in this tank here, you know, and that's really the big thing. So, you know, you got to have this warm enough and this cold enough, and it doesn't matter if it's wintertime or summertime, as long as this is warm. And I'm not talking put it by a fire or put it near a heater or anything like that. Just set it in your house and let it warm up, or set it in your garage and let it warm up. So obviously the warmer the better, but I wouldn't say any more than 70 degrees, and don't put it near a fire. So anyway, so now I feel it's appropriate amount of time. I'm going to close the valve. You've got to close the valve on this, because got my valve closed. And the reason I say you have to close your valve is because they put a check valve in the tank on purpose, so you can't open the valve and exhaust the fuel out of the tank. With this adapter on to adapt these two together, it opens that check valve. With that check valve open, you open that handle, it's going to empty this tank, and there is no stopping it until you close that valve. So you always want to open the valve to put the fuel into the smaller tank to load it, to fuel it, and then you want to close the valve. Make sure you close that valve, because if you go to take this off and that valve is open, it's just going to go psh, it's going to blow propane all over you. So you don't want to blow yourself up doing this. So I got my valve closed. With my valve closed, I slowly take this off until it vents the propane that's left in here, because there'll be a little bit of propane in that little space. Okay, so we're vented. All right, take my cap, put my cap back on. Now, show you real quick. Pull my cap off. New tank. Open the valve. I open the valve all the way. I've read, and you know, they say, oh, you can open it part way, and then it gets to a certain amount, open it a little bit more, and just open it all the way. It fills the tank. And here I'm going to show you what the tank reads now. Here, turn the scale on. Alright, so I took the weight of the bottle off that I have. So the weight of the bottle was about 12.6 ounces. I'm going to take the bottle that I just filled. Okay, so I've got about 14 ounces. So, you know, 14 ounces, 16 ounces is a pound. You know, if I had this tank warmer, if the tank was warmer, I'd get myself 16 ounces. You know, and if you let it sit for a while, I pretty much, once it got done filling the tank, I took it off and put it on the scale. So I got 14 ounces, and 14 ounces is 2 ounces shy of a pound. I'll just show you here. My scale go, you know, 1 pound, and I've had like 1.3 pounds in one of these bottles before, with the temperatures being right. So I let the other one sit on there for a little while. Let's check this one. Okay, so I pulled the bottle off, and you know, pulled the bottle off. I'll show you. I'm trying to glare. Got my 14 ounces. Put the bottle aside. Take the bottle I just took off. I got 15 ounces. So we're still an ounce shy, but you know, we're pretty full. I didn't buy a new bottle, and we're good to go. And like I said, you can build an assembly line here. I have 10 of these bottles. I used to throw them out all the time. I even got one sit over here by my engine block. You just make an assembly line out of it. All right, the one thing I want to add to the video before I forget about it is one of these tanks, whether it's a 15-pound or a larger 30-pounder like this, you're not going to be able to empty the entire tank. So you're not going to be able to get all the liquid out of the tank, you know, out of that valve. Not all that liquid's going to get out of there to go into these little tanks to fill them up. So you're going to want to, you know, don't just be like, oh, I filled all these little tanks and this tank is empty, because it won't be empty. They'll have, you know, 2 or maybe even 3 pounds left in it that you're still going to have to hook to your barbecue or your little heater, or however you use the propane tank beforehand. You're not going to get all the propane out of it. So, you know, I'm just telling you because, you know, I've done it before. I realized that, hey, there was still propane left in it when I took the tank and had it filled before, or when I returned the little barbecue bottle, I still had propane in it. So I actually gave them back propane, which kind of sucks, you know. So it's something you want to remember, that you're not going to get all the propane out of this. You're only going to get, say, you know, out of a 30-pound tank, you're going to get maybe 25, 26, 27 pounds, whatever it is. You know, you could be saving yourself a ton of money. And, you know, it's nice to have these bottles. I mean, even if you only have 1 or 2 of these bottles around and you do this, it's kind of a process to do 1 or 2. It's easy enough to do, warming the tanks, you know, warming this up and freezing these and filling them. It's much easier if you do a whole bunch at one time. And I've been saving the bottles and using them. Even if you go out and you buy a bunch and you just start refilling them, it makes the whole process easier if you do a bunch at one time. Okay, I'm just going to show you real quick. If you open the valve with this connected, it's gonna leak propane. Okay, so just letting you know ahead of time. We're just warning you. So I'm all done. Taking my little adapter off. Always remove it from the tank. Don't leave it on the tank. For safety reasons, always do this outside. Always fill the bottles outside where there's plenty of air. You know, you don't want to burn your house down or your garage or whatever. Do it, you know, just for safety's sake, do it outside. Go find yourself one of these little adapters online. Like I said, basically you spend $10, but that $10 will save you a lot of money in the long run if you're using these little 1-pound barbecue bottles all the time. And make yourself a little plate to make it easier to turn your tank on and off. Alright, so you can fill your bottles yourself, keep yourself toasty warm, use your torches, whatever you got to do, you know. That's pretty much it.